Sorry for the cold open like this, but I just want to give a quick public service announcement before you watch this video. The video you're about to see involves two of the closest astral projections to me in my life um, because they involve my mother and my grandmother. Most of my family died when I was young. My dad died when I was 16. My final grandparent, my grandmother, died when I was 22, and my mother when I was 23. You'll hear me talk about my brother a lot because he's pretty much my surviving family. I also have an Aunt Barb that I haven't seen in a while, Aunt Kathy. But direct family, it's just me and my brother. Um, the reason why I'm putting this public service announcement out here is these two interactions changed my life more than any other one, for better and for worse. And let me explain. Um, when you get deeper into astral practicing and actually going out and doing things, um, you're going to be challenged. A lot of your preconceived notions about religion are going to be challenged. Religious beliefs challenged. If you do tell friends, friendships will be challenged at times by them laughing or not believing or whatever the case may be. For me specifically, these two, they happened a few years apart, but they solidified in my mind that in all things astral, I was going to be alone. You know, we're talking like 2003. There really wasn't. There was an internet, but it wasn't like it is now, and there certainly weren't many astral forums or anything like that. So there was nobody there to talk to, and finding somebody to talk to face that can actually project, um, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. So when I saw my grandma and then my mom, my grandma in uh, the astral world, um, you know, I wish to God I could have told my brother, but these both solidified in my mind that I basically I have to keep things to myself as far as this. And they're not the only ones. The prior video that I talked about, Richie, same thing. And they're not the only ones. I've seen other people. I wish I could go out and tell the world, but we just don't live in that world, and that kind of sucks. And a lot of these things, they play with my mind. I'm not blaming any issues that I have on them, but real quick, there's a reason why I film specifically in front of this painting, other than the fact that I think it's a really cool painting. Um, I'm sure you've heard of the tree in the Garden of Eden, tree of knowledge of good and evil, tree of knowledge. Um, that's kind of like what this is. You know, when I bit into that apple, I didn't get the knowledge of good and evil, though. I got the knowledge of the afterlife. And as far as my friends go and family, some of the things that I now found out really wouldn't vibe with what they thought. Or I'm in my 20s, so they could just laugh at me or make fun of me. Not that I'd care, but I'd rather not share a story that's personal in my heart when somebody's going to be laughing at me or not believing me. So the reason why I'm making this cold open, though, is if you're just getting into astral, or if you haven't even gotten there yet, before you do anything else, I want you to just write down two names of two people in your life. Could be family, friends, co-workers, a priest. Two people that no matter what, you could share stuff with. Things that happen in astral or things that you see or do. And these people have to have an open mind. So just think about two people in your life that are open-minded enough that when you're telling them something about things that happen in astral, things that you see, that they'll be able to step back and see the whole picture and not judge or have any preconceived notions about it. Believe me, it goes a long way. One of the reasons why I started doing this was because I started talking to my friend Mike Rigler at work. And I realized that getting these things out, like, they probably should have been said a long time ago. It's just I didn't have a means to do it, other than writing a book. And there's enough books out there. Nobody reads them anyway anymore. All people read is internet posts. So talking to Mike Rigler, I dedicate this whole thing to him, because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be doing this. So hope you enjoy the video. Two friends.
One shot on stage, what you got to play? Generic drops for days, still the people rage. Am I not insane? Can you stop and explain why these drops are so lame? Is money buying you fame? I'm fucking on, I'm killing it with this song. You haters can sing along or go back where you belong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving up, moving on. Cause I took your girl to prom, she can't help but sing this song. Things off till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my high progress,
Welcome to the Ethereal Dojo. Get your ass in here and I'll teach you some shit. Welcome to the Ethereal Dojo. I'm Derek and I am pumped for this new setup. It took me like 3 hours of ironing this out to get everything together. Okay. Last video I didn't like the lighting. I didn't like the sound. I had to download a whole new camera setup. The sound, I hooked it up last time, and when I tested it, the mic worked fine. Well, when I actually went into it, it was recording on, I believe, the wrong mic, but whatever. Should be ironed out now. All right, welcome to the Here Dojo. Like I said, I'm Derek. Piggybacking off of the last video that I made. Anybody who didn't hear, I'm taking this to virtual reality. Not right away. We're going to lead into it, and it's going to be about 50-50 videos, YouTube, virtual reality. Most likely VR chat, okay? Just because everybody has it. Everybody has access to it. It's free, it's easy, and there's a ton of avatars to make it fun, all right? If you have any other suggestions, please feel free. Comments, email, VR chat. My login, it's d.rek9160, and my screen name is capital D R underscore capital ROCKSO, Dr. Roxo. So easy enough. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? First, again, I'm going to be on a podcast in about 2-3 weeks. So I'm kind of brushing up for that. But let's go into maybe other stories. Let's do another story. So I'll tell you 2 very heartfelt stories. Okay, they're both very quick but very heartfelt stories. My mother was very sick with cancer for months and months, sick with cancer. She was in a hospice, and at this point, we knew she was dying. It was within hours and or days. And we sat with her at the hospital for however long. She wasn't even conscious at that point. She was in and out, but for several hours she was out. And we were kind of just waiting for the worst. You know, there's no miracle that's going to save this. So my brother's girlfriend at the time, wife now, her parents lived right near there. And the nurses told us, listen, just go get some sleep. Like, not here, go get some rest. We know you have a place to stay. Just take a couple hours, okay? Because you guys are running yourselves ragged. So reluctantly we did, but we probably didn't need it because we were pretty hard. I was sleeping on the couch. My brother was in the bedroom. We had just us, okay? And as I'm drifting off to sleep, what happens? But OBE, boom, getting dragged out. And at this point, I'm 22 or 23, 2003, 23. So I wasn't fully trained at all yet. You know, it was still hit and miss. But I get dragged out, and who do I see but my mother? She's dancing, singing. She hadn't been able to do this in, over a year. Um, and I didn't call her mom at this time. Me and my brother called her Rose. I know you could hate me if you want, but I looked at her and I said, Rose, are you okay? And she's like, dance with you. Damn, I haven't been able to dance in forever. And so I'm trying to, you know, humor her. I'm trying to humor her, okay? And just dancing, having fun, talking to her. She wouldn't let me talk though. She kept interrupting me. She kept anytime I would say anything, she just didn't want to hear it. She just kept speaking, and this went over quite a few minutes. Um, Pretty long OBE, and finally I just stopped her, and I remember I grabbed hold of her shoulders like this, and I said, "You're dead. You're dead." Because I knew at that point. I knew why I was seeing her. Um, and right then and there, she immediately realized it. Um, Kind of just faded off into the distance, and I actually haven't seen her since. So it's kind of sad, but I know she's there. But second story, I'll tell you about a loved one. My grandma, Nani. She was the most psychic person in my family, besides perhaps me. I don't know. I can't really compare. She didn't really do out of body experiences or anything, as far as I know. But then again, she hid a lot of this. She didn't talk about it. The most that she would tell me was that she could read the tea leaves, but always give me like a sly wink when she would say it. She was from England, well, Ireland originally, but she lived in England, so tea was her big thing. Um, there was more to it though. I knew it. Maybe nobody else did, but I knew it. And I'll talk more of that right after I'm done telling you the story. So, quite a few times when I am pulled out of my body and sent somewhere, um, being dragged somewhere, I'll request to go to my grandma's house. Outside, inside, it doesn't matter. It's just like a security blanket for me because I always felt comfortable there. Um, so this may have been one of those times, I don't know, but I showed up. Usually I would show up in like the backyard or the front yard. This time I showed up right in the dining room. And as I was walking into the dining room, into the living room, that's where my grandma's hospital bed was when she was bedridden. So she couldn't get upstairs. Um, but I'm sitting here thinking, am I going to see her? Is she actually going to be there? And as I'm walking, like I'm kind of scared, but not really. I'm more excited because again, she was more attuned, and the maybe not the occult, but at least spiritual. Um, Very strong spirit, very old spirit. And as I'm walking into the living room, I see her right there, sitting on the bed. And I look at her and I said, "Hey," and she looks at me and she says, "Hey." I looked on her. I was like almost tear. If you could cry in Astral, I would have had tears in my eyes. But all I could say was, "I miss you, Nani." And she said, "I miss you too." And I got to give her the biggest, most tangible hug that I've ever given anybody in the astral world. And it was great. Okay. And there weren't, I didn't need to say anything else. She didn't need to say anything else. It didn't even need to last any longer. Okay. Um, that was it. I left right after that. Because, she knew I knew, and I knew she knew. There wasn't anything else that needed said. It was cool that she actually, I was able to visit her, or she was able to bring me, or however that worked. But very, very cool. So this brings me to a few points. Number one, I believe that the ability to astral project or use any type of spiritual techniques, um, it's easier for certain people. Like it runs in the family, okay, but it's not everybody because out of my brother and he, I don't think he knows any. I don't think he knows much about it, but he's never told me anything like that. Nothing psychic, no empathic abilities, nothing like that. Myself, on the other hand, from a very young age, I've experienced it. Likewise, my mother never mentioned anything like this. However, my aunt, uh, her youngest sister, did. They also have a middle sister, Kathy. Um, she, I, I'm not really sure. I highly doubt it though. And again, my grandma on my mom's side. So my whole mom's side, straight down. That's where I get it from. So my grandma, my aunt Barb, and hey Barb, in case you see this, and myself. My aunt Barb actually had books on, I believe it was Monroe, or I don't know. It was books on somebody that I read one time, and I believe I talked to her, and she said that she had one or two out of body experiences, but this is a long time ago, so don't quote me on that. The other thing that I wanted to mention was, these are two different people, and now three people that I'm telling you about that I've seen that are dead. Okay, my mom, literally, I was woken up from that OBE by the hospice calling us, telling us that she passed. Okay, so I literally saw her as she passed. Boom. Which I never told my brother. I never told anybody that. Um, she didn't know she was dead. Clearly. Richie Mahal, in my last video, I talked about same thing. Did not know he was dead. I had to tell him. With my mom, I didn't realize I had to tell her though. Maybe I didn't, but Richie, I had to tell him. It was like, you got to do this, brother. My grandma, on the other hand, just by her demeanor and everything, you could tell she knew. Like, she knew she had crossed over. There was no doubt about it. So, depending on who you see, they may or may not know that they've crossed over. So, if you're trying to reach somebody when you have an out-of-body experience, if you're trying to reach, like, let's say your dad or your mom, you may be blocked by a spirit guide or, somebody in the heavens above, because they may be either reincarnated, perhaps, if you believe in that, or they may be off on their own spiritual journey, or just, again, not know that they're deceased. So, any questions, comments, hit me up in the comments. For virtual reality, I have Quest 2, Rift S. If you guys know anything besides VR chat, let me know. I'll make it. I'll at least try. Pretty good on the computer, so I think I can do it. And anything else, email d.rek9160@gmail.com, or find me on Facebook. Look for Red Hat, I think.